UFC fights, bro.
UFC. I think
we got
the first
Francis
big one is
Ngannou.
Francis and Ciryl. I'm gonna look at the card.
Yeah, go ahead, look it up, man. Francis, there's a lot of implications coming from this fight. His UFC contract is up after this fight. There's been some big money problems going around. Francis Ngannou, not saying he's broke, but the homie needs to get paid. It seems like there's so long durations in between his fights, and the homie barely gets touched because he knocks everybody out. So,
hey, but before we go super far into this, the week before that one is the Calvin Cater and fucking Giga Chickadees.
Yeah.
You know the bald homie.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that.
Travis's guy, man. We've been watching him for a minute.
He's gonna be at the top of that division in featherweight. He's a fucking monster. I think he could take on Brandon Moreno or Figueiredo. Personally, because he was such a good kickboxer. But I just want to throw that out there. The money thing with the UFC has obviously been a fucking reoccurring thing in there, but at the end of the day, it's only going to get better as more time goes, and it almost goes back to what we're talking about. The more UFC fighters speak on it together and in unity, it's going to put pressure on the top people always. But also at the end of the day, like, they know how much they're making, so I don't feel bad that Francis Ngannou's talking about he doesn't have enough money, because I got to imagine these guys get this money and they're like just being very frivolous with it.
Well, when you're the heavyweight UFC champion of the world, there's a lot of money that needs to be spent in order to have that upkeep of shit.
I feel
you
that.
need good food. You need training partners. You need fucking high-end recovery that you're spending a lot of money on. This shit costs a lot. And
but do you need it, or are you just doing it because you have the money?
No, you need that shit.
But
if LeBron James is spending $2 million a year,
LeBron's different though.
But what I'm saying is he's a high-end athlete in his own right. So if you have a job where you get punched in the face and you do punching in the face, you need to recover, man. That shit costs a lot.
But I think what people have to put in perspective with the money thing in the UFC is 20 years ago, the champion of the UFC that was a tournament then, so the person winning the tournament, he's
making 50 grand or something.
Training in a grungy ass gym, using what he has available to him, and most of the guys that make it to the top, that's where they have to start. So I understand what you're saying, but it's like it's gonna just take time. Boxing has been around for a fucking 100 years. That's why they're like, we're gonna give this guy $50 million for this fight, which is crazy. And for me, and I feel like, at least just for me personally, like, UFC is a lot more entertaining in a sense, just because there's just more to it. But again, like, it's gonna take time to build that up. Yeah, you maybe have these other smaller promotions like, oh well, we're gonna offer these fighters all this money, but they're not gonna be around. Like, UFC is gonna be around. Like, they're the top for a reason. So I think some people just need to buy in and keep it rocking, because look at what they did to Conor. They take care of you if you're selling the pay-per-views, and if you're bringing in money, you're getting taken care of. So they got to think about it like that too. It is a business, and they're not just there. Like, as much as they're there to fight, you have to be marketable. And like a lot of UFC fighters, as good as they are, they're not marketable because they're just like, I just want to fight.
Slow, and they don't talk about.
So that's why Conor, like, he took this crazy leap, or a guy like Sean O'Malley, who he just barely got ranked, but anytime he fights, it's a big thing because how he talks and just the personality. Even Colby Covington. If you don't like him, he's still figured out, like, okay, you got to do more than just come in and win. Or you have to be so dominant. But even, like, the dominant guys, they're not getting crazy paychecks because they have nothing else behind them. You're behind the scenes until your fight, and then you do your little post-interview, whatever, and then nobody sees you. You have to start marketing yourself and or taking what they're giving you because you're not getting paid bad and putting that in something and getting something out. Conor did proper 12. I'm going to keep on bringing him up because how he did it. Khabib, he never got crazy paydays or fight of the night bonuses, but he seems like he's content with living in a mountain in Russia. So he has money. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think some of these guys, they feel like, I'm the champ now, I'm going to do this. You got to live, like, in your means, I feel like, in a sport like that, because you could get knocked out in a second, and then you're in a whole different, like, brass with it. And on top of that, again, like, it's going to take time. 10 years from now, these fighters are going to be making significantly more. And again, the more pressure they put on people, the more they'll make. With that being said, I think Francis Ngannou might lose anyways.
because of the diverse fighting style that Gane has. This guy came in, like, the thing about the heavyweight division in the UFC is that a lot of these guys aren't skillful. They just hit very hard.
And can take a hard hit.
Meanwhile, you have, Ciryl Gane, who looks every bit the part. This guy's only been in the sport for 3-ish years, 4 years, whatever it may be, but he looked like a martial artist in there. He was mixing it up. He was throwing his kicks. He was throwing his hands. He was fighting in the clinch. He could take you to the ground. This guy's more complete. But Francis Ngannou just has that ungodly power.
For like a lack of a better comparison, though, he stands back. He waits for his big punch. Or he has a fight where he just goes in and he's literally just throwing lefts and rights till he connects. And
but
he drops
I feel like people forget how great of a fighter Stipe is, and Ngannou just destroyed him.
He did,
second
but
fight.
it's like that was his first fight where like you're like, okay, you went in there to fight skillfully and not to just try to.
He didn't have to do it any other time in the last 3 years.
I feel that, but it's also like okay, and then you have Ciryl Gane, who's coming in though, and he's putting on like performances against people. He doesn't look sloppy. He looks clean. Why do you think he got the title shot so quick?
Yeah, no, this dude looks outstanding. He's
grabbing you and hitting you with the elbow, catching you with the body, gonna take you down. Like it's just that's what the fight. That's what it is now. Like Francis Ngannou, I like him, and it was inevitable that like with how things were going, he was gonna win eventually. Stipe was already on a downslope in the sense of just injuries. He was talking about it himself, like he wasn't gonna fight much longer. Now you're having a guy that's younger than you and is or they're like the same age or.
Yeah, Stipe's like 36 or some shit.
So I'm saying with Ciryl coming in, he's younger. He's in athletic prime. He obviously is fucking. I think he's gonna not dominate him, but obviously if Francis catches him, he's dropping him. But everybody knows that. He knows that going in that he has power. Like he's not gonna be oblivious to it. So, but then again, like if Francis Ngannou comes in just throwing punches at you, you're kind of fucked. Even if you're catching him on your arms, I got to imagine that shit hurts very bad.
It does. So that fight's gonna be interesting. The fact that there's controversy just at this table with you and me just shows how either direction that this fight could go. But I just feel like with Ngannou's power, man, and he just got the title. This will be his first title defense, which the title does not get defended often in succession in the heavyweight division because it's just. These guys are too strong, man. You get clipped just a little bit. You can go night-night real quick. But in addition to that big fight, what are some other highlights or cards that you see?
Well, the same thing Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo fight. Like
the fourth time? I think they have fought each other 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
Man.
And I can't get enough of this shit.
Yeah, because one of them won. And then I think Moreno, they drawed.
And then Moreno won 1-2.
Moreno won, and then now they're fighting again. So it's 1-1 and 1 right now.
Yeah, this shit is wild.
This is like the ultimate tiebreaker for real.
And if you go back and watch their fights, man, it's so much fun to watch. Brandon Moreno is one of my favorite fighters. He actually trains at the gym I go to. I ain't never seen his little ass, but that he's gangster, bro.
He just likes to play with Legos. It's so funny. He's like super into Legos.
Simple life. Simple life, baby.
I think when he won, they're like, what are you going to do? Or blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'm just going to buy a bunch of Legos. Or something. He said some shit. I was like, that's dope. It's dope. Figueiredo's he's a scrapper. His look.
That dude is cold.
He's nice.
He's cold.
He's nice.
What's some other fights, man? We're gonna end this pod with some fight talk or fight update talk, and then we'll dive in deeper and shit on another episode.
Just Izzy
and Robert Whittaker. When's that? February?
Early February. February 12th.
Y'all don't follow at all. You know Izzy, right?
I like Izzy.
That's gonna be
Izzy is cold, bro.
I like Izzy.
This is gonna be the biggest fight I think Izzy's had in a long time. And take away the Jan fight where he went up, but I think that fight was almost, not to say it didn't matter, but he was basically like, I'm gonna see if I could do it.
Yeah.
This fight right here, Robert Whittaker is the only guy in the middleweight division that I think can even touch Izzy, and I don't think he's gonna.
Yeah.
But if Izzy wins again, he's cleared that division now.
Yeah, so
he's king of that division. And he's already beat Robert Whittaker once, so don't get it twisted. He's already knocked him out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he's still like Robert Whittaker is still good. Yeah. So I'm excited as fuck for that fight because Izzy's like my favorite fighter.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all put me on Izzy.
Can you hit record on her? What bullshit is it talking? Yeah. Thank you, sir. See, I caught that shit, boy. What?
Yeah, no, I think Izzy's gonna. I want him to just come in, do his thing, win, but again, like he's king of that middleweight division at that point. Because even like the guys that they're fighting on the same card, they're the co-main event, Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson. Basically, whoever wins that fight's gonna fight for the middleweight title next. Those are the two top contenders in a sense. Mm-hmm. Izzy's already beat the shit out of Derek Brunson. He made him look bad. Like, he knocked him out. And then Jared Cannonier, I don't.
I think he's still
I'm not
getting
sold on him. He's fought, like, heavyweight in a heavyweight fight, and now he's fighting in a middleweight fight.
But he brought the power and explosiveness that he had at heavyweight to middleweight. That dude is gangster.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. But Jared Cannonier and Robert Whittaker fought, and Robert Whittaker beat the shit out. He broke his arm.
But he broke his arm in the first round. Like, Robert Whittaker threw a kick, Jared Cannonier blocked it and broke his arm. Then the homie proceeded to fight like 3 or 4 more rounds or whatever. Was it 3 or 5?
I think it was a main event, 5.
So 5. He fought 4 more rounds with a broken arm. So shout out to him. That was gangster.
But no, I think Izzy's gonna.
So if Izzy wins that fight, the problem is, like you said, he cleared out the division. There's no fight to make there. There's no up and coming guy that is
just
even
right now
tasteful to fight him. You know what I'm saying?
That's right now. I think that shit where like everybody gets to the top of their division and then feels like they have to go to another one because Conor, like even in the video games, like you have, like I don't think that has to be a thing. John Jones sat there and defended that light heavyweight title for like 10 fucking years. Yeah. And you could very well do that. Anderson Silva was doing the same shit. He was in the same defending his title.
I was talking about the money situation earlier. I don't know about UFC, but in boxing, yeah, if you get more money if you move up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and then even just in a sense of like if he moves up and it's it could just be a big fight, and pay-per-views are just stupid important in the UFC. So it's like. And Izzy's a guy that probably gets paid well because people like to watch him fight.
Because he has a mouthpiece. He can
market
himself.
He's entertaining.
And he's just goofy. Like, I know people that don't even know UFC, but they're like, oh, that's the dude that like was doing fucking Naruto jutsus and then runs. So you're like, okay.
So they fuck with him.
So yeah, I don't know, bro. I wouldn't be mad if he stays in that division and just keeps, because he defends a lot. Like, it's not even like he turns down fights. Like, he's ready. He always wants to fight. He'll take the biggest fight, the hardest fight.
Yeah, so, he's just a fighter, man.
I mean, it is what it is.
Like there's no politics with him.
Yeah, I like that.
What his fucking kickboxing record is literally like 70-something and 3, I think. Like, I'll look it up to get the real one. It's ridiculous. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, y'all are the ones that introduced me to Izzy. You know what I'm saying? And just being around you guys and just watching some of the fights or whatever. Yeah, I can say I'm a fan for sure.
Yeah, the homies.
I can definitely see the appeal.
Yeah, he's
nice. He knows what he's doing, and then like you said, like he's entertaining outside of the ring too.
His growth though, like in particular, his ground defense, him on his back, he grew so much.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in just last year and a half or so.
So he has a 5-1 professional boxing record, a 75-5 kickboxing record, and then he's 20-1 right now in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, the homie's just
and his loss was literally against a guy that was like 20 pounds heavier than him or some stupid shit.
And he moved up. It was like he didn't take long enough to move up and put on the weight properly.
He did it in
day
a few
of
months.
the fight, he weighed like 203. The limit was 205, and then his opponent day of the fight was like 230. So it was a big difference in the weight category. And it's crazy because
even the dude that he fought said he was like, I was expecting him to be faster, but he was a lot stronger than what I expected.
Yeah.
So that means even at him not even going up right, he still had power in his hand. Like he had a lot of power in his hands, and he still looked nice when they were like up. Like when they were striking, he looked nice. once he got him on his back, though, I just felt like he was just too big and too strong. Because even Izzy, he just got put on his back by a good wrestler recently, and he literally reversed it and was on top. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, he has the knowledge and he can do it. But that guy was so much bigger than him.
The other cat was
mass moves mass.
He was a black belt, and he had 30 pounds on him, so it was big. All right, man. So there's some good fights in the first quarter of this year coming up in the UFC. I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. I want to see them fights. But I'm going to end this pod, man. I know we jumped around a little bit, but I'm going to get weird, and I'm going to, mix it up with the edits and shit like that. So it's going to be fun. But I appreciate it, man. We got Elijah coming out with Perfect, the video soon. So be on the CB5 and Randy doing their thing. Be on the lookout for that. But in addition to that, Elijah just dropped Rut. Man, go run that thing up. You stuck in the rut, but we're gonna end it like that. Happy holidays, happy New Year, man. I appreciate it.
This was dope. This was dope.